Coming up on today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, breaking down how Andrew Chafin was a major pickup for the Arizona Diamondbacks, looking ahead at some spring training bubble questions, and then part 3, 4, I don't even know, with Sully Baseball doing our way too early World Series predictions, all on today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast.
You are Locked on Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? The always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas. I'm a multimedia journalist and I'm a graphic designer, so please go check out my website, millardthomas24.myportfolio.com. I'm there you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. If you want to see more content by me, just follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24 for my personal account, or just look up Locked on Diamondbacks, both Twitter, Instagram for the podcast handle. And of course, thank you for making Locked on Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free and available on all platforms, so please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube, so please hit subscribe on the Locked on Diamondbacks YouTube channel, because currently you can watch me playing with my hair because it is looking lopsided and a mess today. I don't really know what to do with it. Might have to cut it soon, getting really long. So please hit subscribe on the Locked on Diamondbacks YouTube channel. But for today's podcast, I first want to start off by talking about that Andrew Chafin pickup by the Dbacks, because Andrew Chafin was on the market for a hot while. Like, there's still some quality free agents on the market. We just saw the San Diego Padres pick up Michael Wacha. Like, he's coming off a pretty good year. That could be a pretty great bargain deal for the San Diego Padres. But for the D-backs, picking up Andrew Chafin was a low-key major move, because we know this D-backs bullpen has been awful for quite a while now, and they finally had this new philosophy coming into this season of getting hard-throwing pitchers and maybe even picking up dudes who are actually good. That's what they did with Andrew Chafin here. Now, before Andrew Chafin, it was a lot of flyers and potential upside guys because of their velo, but no one that was proven. This is the first proven guy, unless you think Miguel Castro is proven. This is the first legit proven guy that the D-backs have picked up for the bullpen this offseason, and it's also a little bit of a coming home ceremony. It's like LeBron James going back to Cleveland, because Andrew Chafin was drafted in the first round of the 2011 draft by the D-backs, and he looked really good. His first stint in Arizona, a 3.68 ERA, over 271 innings pitched. He was really solid here in AZ, and it was kind of sad when he left, because the bullpen ever since he left has not been the same. His last season with the D-backs was 2019. Basically, since then, this D-backs bullpen has been in shambles, because if you look at some of the signings by the D-backs since 2020, when Andrew Chafin left, like, why did we let him leave? Not quite sure. Probably financial reasons, but here are some relievers the D-backs have signed since then that have actually made appearances and contributions, or lack of contributions, to this D-backs roster since Andrew Chafin's left. Remember Hector Rondon, 2020? Not good. I'm going to go year by year too. So we're starting in 2020. Hector Rondon, terrible. Junior Guerrera didn't really have that bad of a year in terms of ERA, was pretty solid. Walks per 9 was way too high, but he was solid. You know, if I had to rate how he was for the D-backs this season, probably a B-, but Hector Rondon was absolutely terrible for the D-backs in 2020. Look ahead at 2021. Joakim Soria, he was traded at the deadline, wasn't very good. Tyler Clippard, he missed a lot of the season with injury, I think, and then came back. He was fine, not very good, not very great. Chris Davinsky, a lot of time missed due to injury as well. He's not a very good pitcher either. So you look at 2020, 2021, not really anybody of quality that the D-backs signed. 2022, Mark Melancon. We were like, whoa, there was a proven guy, all-star. Hopefully Andrew Chafin didn't turn into Mark Melancon, but Melancon was signed last year. He didn't have a very good season. He'll be back with his D-backs team this season. Ian Kennedy was another quote-unquote proven guy. He had a really down season as well, which was really shocking to see. But you look at the D-backs relievers the last 3 years, and it's pretty much all misses for this D-backs bullpen. And so now you bring in Andrew Chafin, who is a legit reliever, someone who never should have left Arizona, and someone who is going to help out this bullpen a ton, because this is someone that did rack up 3 saves last year. Not really a closer, but can be a spot closer in certain situations if you need him to. Last year with the Tigers, a 2.83 ERA, over 57 innings pitched, and he had double-digit strikeouts per 9. So you're getting someone that has a low ERA, someone that can still rack up the strikeouts. Now, he's not exactly fitting that profile of someone that is a hard-throwing lefty or anything like that, but what Andrew Chafin is a pretty hard-throwing ground ball, sinker ball pitcher, because last season that's his go-to pitch. It's been his go-to pitch throughout the majority of his career. Average just a tick under 92 miles per hour on his sinker ball, and he definitely pitches the contact with that because he gave up a 319 average with that sinker ball. But his slider is so nasty, only a .085 average allowed. Batting average below 100 allowed against that slider, which is really his, I want to say his put away pitch, because he's put away 26.5% of the batters he faces with that slider more than any of his other pitches. Throws in that 4-seam fastball a lot too. Like, definitely throws the sinker ball the most, but it's pretty close, the splits in terms of usage between his sinker, slider, and fastball. Definitely is a contact ground ball pitcher, which I don't always love, as you guys know, when I talk about the Tyler Gilberts of the world. But Andrew Chafin, someone that's proven it over the course of a long haul, and someone that's also a reliever. I don't like Tyler Gilbert as a starter, but if he was just a one-inning reliever and he was effective at getting ground balls, then I wouldn't mind it. And also, Andrew Chafin does throw in the low 90s, can hit 92, 93 miles per hour, so he's not atrocious at picking up his velocity. And look at his numbers last season. 50% ground ball rate is solid. Better than solid. Very good. 86.2 mile an hour exit velocity. Very good as well. Only 222 average allowed on the whole. OPS allowed 619. The only number that was concerning was that 293 batting average on balls in play. But again, he's a sinker ball pitcher. He's going to have balls in play. He's going to pitch to contact. So you're not worried about it at all. And now you look at this D-backs bullpen, and it's starting to show a semblance of maybe being mediocre, at least. Like, mediocre is the baseline the D-backs are trying to get to, because since 2020, it's been below mediocre. It's been quite literally, you can make the argument, the worst bullpen in baseball since 2020. 2020, 2021, 2022. Cumulatively, those 3 years, I think the D-backs have had the worst bullpen in baseball. But for next season, I still don't love the D-backs bullpen, but there's at least a couple guys that I would trust now. It used to be, maybe just Mantiply and nobody else. But now you got Andrew Chafin with the Mantiply. Kyle Nelson came on strong last year. That's 3 legit guys that I should be able to trust. And then you got some potential swing and misses, feast or famine type players with the Mark Melancons. If he could turn back the clock, it wasn't that long ago. He was an all-star just the year prior to signing with the D-backs. Can he get back to that form? We'll see. Miguel Castro has potential to be a high threes guy, maybe a little bit erratic, but throws hard. He could be solid. Kevin Ginkel, in terms of numbers, was solid last year. Maybe he could build upon that as well. Maybe some of the newbies like Cole Sulzer, Carlos Vargas, some of these guys that are supposed to be hard-throwing relievers, maybe one of them will pop. You even bringing in some old-timey experienced relievers. Those usually don't work out in Arizona, but Yuri's Familia, he is someone with a lot of closing experience, and maybe the D-backs would like to give him a chance at the closer role. So as it currently stands, I thought this was a major move by the D-backs, because I still didn't trust this D-backs bullpen before this move. I'm still not going to trust it after, but at least you added a dude to the bullpen who I do trust. The bullpen as a whole is still untrustworthy, but at least you added a legit arm to the bullpen, a legit go-to person, high leverage situations that now Torey Lovullo could go to. You also got a Mantiply, at least 2 go-to arms. Now, do you love that they're both lefties? I don't know if you like that. Still need a quality righty to emerge from this D-backs bullpen. But as it currently stands, it's looking a lot better than last year's D-backs bullpen. And if you want to bet on the D-backs bullpen, taking a step forward this season, you need to head to fanduel.com because the midway point of the NBA season is here. And now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. 1 second. Let me pause this ad read real quick because for my YouTube audience, I got to put my overlay on. So let me actually start from the top because the midway point of the NBA season is here. And now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, and super easy to use. You can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. That's what I love doing with my Lakers. LeBron, 25 points, LeBron, 7 rebounds, LeBron, 7 assists, and you pair that with Anthony Davis, 25 points, Anthony Davis, 10 rebounds, my favorite same game parlay to do. And I feel like more often than not, it hits, but who's really checking their bank account nowadays? So don't miss your chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. We can go to fanduel.com/lockedon. That's fanduel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more at FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.